How we doing, team? And welcome back to a brand new episode of the Simply podcast where we do talk about pretty much anything, but we are specializing in interviewing interesting characters, big celebrity profiles. And this week I've got one of my favorite streamers, content creators going at the moment, and his name is none other than the brilliant Chuffsters. How are we, Chuff?
Hello, mate. I'm good, thank you. Thank you for having me on.
No, that's not a problem at all. Guys, if you haven't checked out Chuffsters or been living under the rock and don't know who he is, make sure you check out the links in the description below. I'll make sure I'll list absolutely everything in there because he is honestly such a good content creator and you will absolutely love checking out his content. He specializes in kind of FIFA content, so make sure that you do check him out there. And if you are new to the podcast, please do consider dropping a follow if you're listening to this on Spotify, Apple Music, on your grand's TV. Make sure you're watching it, and YouTube as well. If you are new to the podcast, please do consider subscribing, and you'll see all these amazing content creators coming on the podcast, just like Chuffsters. So, but yeah, this is the podcast where we do talk about pretty much anything and everything that goes with. Particularly, we are favouring content creators, trying to get the gist of obviously what does it take to kind of to make it on YouTube, what does it take to make it on Twitch, how can people quit jobs they don't like to start pursuing a career in something that is ever growing and ever adapting. It's one of the most interesting kind of career paths that you can take in content creation. I mean, would you say that, Chuff?
Yeah, yeah. It's a challenge. I think any career you take is a challenge.
Mhm.
And I just think the challenge with content creation is almost treating it like a career,
Yeah.
if that makes sense.
Yeah, definitely. It's kind of like you're making it on your own. You are your own boss, and that creates its own challenges in itself. Motivating yourself, planning out content. You're literally in charge of your own business,
Yeah,
and your business is yourself. So
yeah. And also, kind of, if you're going to do any kind of profession, you have to put time into it. Whether you
mhm,
have to study at university, whether you have to study on the job. There's always work that goes into becoming good at something, and I think that's sometimes the challenge with content creation is remembering that and doing it and being like, you know what, it doesn't, you don't just rock up and become a lawyer,
yeah,
and I think with content creation, that's kind of a
mhm.
mindset I kind of had with it is, well, I have with it now is I've got to properly put time into my training and improving, which actually makes it more like a, does that make sense?
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's kind of like any job, really, where, like, yes, you could learn it all in university, but realistically, the real learning happens when you actually get into the job. I mean, particularly, I mean, one of the biggest challenges I've obviously found is like so editing. Editing is there's so much to learn. There's just it's one of the hardest skills, but one of the best skills to learn when it comes to content creation is editing. Particularly, obviously I use Adobe Premiere. There's luckily on YouTube you can literally learn anything. Like there's a class for everything, and learning it is you have to put the time in. That's one of the big things. You have to put the time in to learn it. And you've got one hell of a work ethic. I mean, how much time do you spend like just learning new things, really?
Too much.
Particularly. Say that
I've
again.
got too much.
Yeah, yeah. Particularly Adobe Premiere. There's just so many options you've got with it. But luckily, like, there is YouTube videos for everything to learn, and it's all free. It's all free. It's all on there, for you to learn. But one of the things, obviously, I kind of want to start off with on the podcast is obviously talking specifically about your career and in content creation, and kind of first of all, what got you into it? Obviously, you came from what was a very good job. Well, from money side, definitely. I mean, I know you obviously didn't enjoy it as much. You have spoken about
Hated
that a
it.
few times.
Yeah,
Um,
I hated it. I
y-
hated it. I was a sales trader at an investment bank.
mhm,
So I mean, I've been at the bank for 10 years. I lived in New York. I'd lived in London.
Wow.
And it was a great career. I was a director, and but I hated it. I hated every day. I hated everything about it. I hated the way of life. The centralization around money. I couldn't be myself.
Hmm.
Um, like because that kind of world is generally from people who went to good universities, well-to-do backgrounds. There's nothing wrong with it, but you get judged quite a lot. I got judged for the university I went to, and if if I told them that I like playing FIFA, you could see you'd be judged for it. So I was never really myself.
You get judged
So
for
yeah,
playing FIFA.
yeah, because like if you said things, it's that kind of environment where if if you didn't fit into the norm of what the other people do, reading and for me, I've never really been a big reader.
Nah.
You were frowned upon, and it was just one of those
Hmm.
things. The stress of it and the hours and the life of it. I just hated it,
Hmm.
and I just knew it wasn't for me.
So what actually made you like start streaming then? Um.
So I was I was working at the bank, and I built a website. I built a website. I taught myself. I didn't know anything about. I didn't know what a URL was at the time. Like, I literally knew nothing. Nothing. I taught myself and built a website from
Mm.
scratch. And it was called Lycalet, and it was all about a review website where you review the property that you rented, not the landlords or the agents, the actual property. Because I
All
basically
right.
had a bad experience. So I created this website and managed to get myself in the Evening Standard, which is a big London newspaper and stuff. And I loved the kind of entrepreneurship of it.
Mm.
And so when I left the bank and moved back to the southwest, because we had my son, and I wanted him to be closer to family because it's life's short, and I wanted to make sure that he saw his grandparents as much as
Yeah.
possible, and I wanted to spend some more time with family. So moved back here, and I had no idea what to do. But just before, probably about 6 months before we moved, maybe 9 months, I was playing FIFA against somebody, and
Mm.
I used to spend a hell of a lot of money on packs.
Yeah.
Like back in FIFA 18, my team was like Prime Hullet, Prime Henri, Prime R9.
Yeah.
Like it was ridiculous.
Hmm.
And I got a message from a guy, and he was like, "Are you a YouTuber?" And I was like, "I never watched YouTube at this point. Like literally, I'd
Yeah.
probably never really been on YouTube." And I was just like, "No, why?" And he goes, "Because your team, you must open a load of packs." And I was like, "Oh yeah, I open tons." He was like, "Mate, people make a lot of money for opening packs." I was like, "No." He was like, "Yes." So I checked it out, and I think I saw like the names were like
Mm.
Nep, Matt HD,
Mm.
Bates, Nick 28T were the four names that I remember seeing. And then I had a go at making a YouTube video in my tiny little lounge in my London house, where I recorded the face cam on my phone, and I had the gameplay. I had no microphone. Oh my god, it's the most awkward, cringeworthy vid. But then I knew I couldn't do anything because I just didn't have the setup, and I had no space for the setup. I couldn't persuade my wife at the time to let me have some space for a setup. And then I found Twitch because
Mm.
Nick 28T was mainly streaming. So then I found Twitch, and yeah, when we moved back, I kind of just got into. I was like, right, I've got space. I'm gonna start streaming. So I just kind of set it up one day. I think I was using my laptop. Um, Bought a webcam. Did I even buy a microphone to start? I don't think I did. I just used the bare essentials,
Mm.
and just started up a stream, and yeah, went from there.
How long ago roughly was this?
My first stream was probably 3 years ago,
Three
nearly.
years. Three
Yeah,
years of content creation. Jeez. Y-
yeah. It's been a bit. Yeah, 3 years of content creation, but I'd
Mm.
say I made a lot of mistakes,
Yeah.
and I said about at the beginning, I said about how probably the hardest part if you want content creation to be a job is to treat it like a job,
Hmm.
where you've got to really like because streaming is and this is my opinion. People may disagree, but I used streaming a lot. I did, streaming was going well. It was all good during lockdown. Great,
Mm.
but streaming was a way of saying I was But it was a hobby for about 6 months before I decided to kind of use some of my savings and kind of quit my job and thing. But um, it was a very nice way to escape, and it
Yeah.
feels like you're working. And so there's a lot of time I probably, if I went and did it again, I don't have regrets, but if I did it again, I would have done what I've done in the last few months, where I'm kind of like, you look at everything and right, how do I improve? I've got to train myself. I need to learn new
Yeah.
skills, just like you would in a job. Because sitting and streaming isn't the best use of the time.
Yeah, no, I obviously I've covered this myself on the channel where I've talked about the likes of Twitch particularly on this one where
Yeah,
um realistically as a if you're only focusing solely on streaming on Twitch, it's not very likely that you'll make a career out of it. You really need to diversify like where your content's going. You need to put it in as many places as you can. Particularly YouTube is one of them. It's absolute must. TikTok as well is one of the fastest growing platforms. You know, like so Instagram and Twitter are also very good. You know, putting your content in multiple different places will help you grow, and that's also kind of talking back to kind of the mindset that you were on about, where you look at it from a job perspective. You know, you are also a business, and the business you want to keep growing. So realistically, to get more eyes on your brand, is one of the biggest things.
yeah,
I mean, I remember, you know, what was a while ago. Every morning I'd look on Twitter. The first tweet I'd see is you saying morning to everyone. And you know what? You never used to get that much engagement at the start, but then all of a sudden, all these people are starting to say morning back to you. All this engagement is coming straight away, and it can be simple as that. Just say morning to everyone, gets you engagement straight away. People are look out for that tweet almost straight away. And it can be literally as simple as that, doing that, making the habit of doing that, and then making other habits as well with, you know, planning out content, you know, learning new skills, you know, setting that kind of structure in place to help to give yourself the best possible platform for success. Which obviously you've done yourself. I mean, how challenging did you find kind of going from not at your job to going full time content creator? What was that switch like? Where were the biggest challenges for you in that?
in the Switch,
Yeah.
I mean, like I was lucky. I had a well, not lucky. I worked my backside off to get to where I was
Hmm.
at the bank. Like I started at the bank at the bottom, and then I worked my way through to get to kind of a really good kind of a role there. But I had savings, so I was like, I knew because some people when I did it were like, oh, I might quit my job and start, and I was like, look, you got to have a plan. So I had a plan
Hmm.
of, I knew how much, I knew my savings, I knew how much of it I didn't mind spending, having a go at this, and then I kind of roughly worked out what I would need, and I focused all on Twitch at this point.
Hmm.
What I would need in order to, I had these targets set out, but at the time, and I think with this industry, it's very hard to set those targets until you've been doing it for a year or two because you have no idea.
Yeah.
Like you don't know, like
Like if you're looking back to when you first started, like
yeah,
your content has evolved massively from then.
yeah, yeah, and that's what I think the yeah, and that's a good thing. I just
Hmm.
wish I'd kind of done it a bit sooner. I just think that I remember the one doing like I'll tell you there's one and because for me the biggest change. This might sound weird, but so there's the three main stages I had was quit. I quit my job, my main job in London, moved back. I did a few jobs here whilst I was streaming for fun, and then I quit those to stream full time.
Hmm.
And then I kind of started YouTube later, and I only really properly started YouTube back end of last year, and then I made some big changes this year, which has kind of been good so far. Um, and probably the biggest shift was moving away, like even bigger than quitting my job was probably the shift away from not streaming as much as I used to
Hmm.
because I was very focused, and I get this with any whatever you're doing on social media, anything, and or if any business you have, or even not in a business, you become focused on, you know, whether it's Twitch, you're focused on average viewers, you're focused on
Yeah.
subs and all this stuff. And I was putting in time streaming, like I was streaming like 9, 10 hours a day, and in lockdown it was okay, and you just think about how many subs you've got, how many subs you've got, how many viewers you get in.
Yeah.
And then after lockdown, in the daytime, numbers just dramatically dropped because people were back at work. Subs just absolutely plummeted. And I asked some people who I knew from, and they're like, "Oh yeah, I just don't get on now in the day, so it just dried up." And I was like, "Wait, I'm looking at this all wrong. It's not about how many subs you get or how many viewers I get. Like, there's two things that, obviously money, because I need to pay the bills. Like, how much am I
Yeah.
earning per hour? And how much growth am I getting
Yeah.
per kind of hour as well? The two kind of metrics. So I calculated it because Twitch does give it to you, and I looked at it and I was like, oh my God,
Mm-hmm.
I need to stop streaming as much because I am literally earning. Honestly, I'll tell you right now, it was down to about $6-7 an hour or something stupid.
Oh,
Um,
geez, oh man,
yeah, and at that point, I realized I
that's
was like,
below minimum wage as well.
oh, it was horrific
Mm.
because it's the way it works, and the amount that streamers get from Twitch is not great. It's
Mm-hmm.
really not great. And you need a huge amount of subs to make that sustainable.
Just to ask as well, did the sponsorships come into that as well? Did you get like, because obviously a lot of people were wondering. They said the same thing about Sam's Tap Tap's podcast as well. But can how did sponsorships come into that as well? Did they help boost the revenue quite a bit, or was it kind of like per viewer to like ratio kind of thing you were getting with each stream? To kind of income wise, obviously you don't need to tell the exact figures, but did it help you live off streaming a little bit at least?
Sponsorships at one point were literally the only thing keeping me going.
Right. Wow.
So there was a time where Twitch had dropped, and I was like, I was earning, I couldn't even pay my rent from Twitch,
Mm-hmm.
and I was just like, so the sponsors were literally keeping me going. And I was very lucky to get kind of the sponsors that I
Yeah.
had, just because to get sponsors that are not like a per stream, they were just actual monthly retainer sponsorships.
Mm.
Um, very, very lucky.
Yeah.
And this is kind of what all led me to the thing of like, it's kind of started TikTok and all these things. I was like, right, all I care about is because I don't do this. I do this job because I love it.
Mm.
Every day, the
Yeah.
challenge of trying to create something, better myself, learn something new, develop,
Mm-hmm.
is I try and get more views because that means that people enjoy it.
Yeah.
If that makes sense, that's what I love about it.
Yeah.
But obviously, you've got to make money, otherwise it's not business. Like, you've got to support. I've got to
De-
support myself, a son, and all that stuff. So there is an element of you want to try and make as much as you can from something you enjoy.
mm.
But
Definitely.
that was a huge shift for me when I was like, this is not sustainable. And
Mm-hmm.
then I started looking, I was like, how many subs do you need to really make this, and the viewerships, and I was just like, at that point, I cut my streaming down massively.
Mm-hmm.
And now I don't stream now. I stream maybe once a week.
Yeah, no, I mean, obviously, I used to, particularly over lockdown wise, obviously, I had two monitors, so I used to be on a Zoom call on one and then have you on the other. And then when I had three monitors, I'd have, hey, the Zoom call, you, and then it was FIFA doing squad battle as well on a Zoom call. Get those games in, and yeah, because obviously back then it was just to get packs for content wise. So
Yeah.
I think vast majority of people kind of experienced their biggest growth obviously over lockdown.
Oh, it was mad. I mean, because I streamed a little bit before lockdown, and there just wasn't the people on Twitch. But
Hmm,
then during lockdown, the trend I noticed during lockdown, so many new streamers.
hmm,
Most of them streamed in the evening.
yeah,
Still, even in lockdown, they were like late afternoon, evening.
hmm,
So, but the number of viewers in the day had gone up hugely as well. So in the day, there wasn't as much competition. Like, demand had gone up, but supply hadn't gone up as much.
yeah.
But in the evening, I'd say similar, but in the evening. But now I think with Twitch, and again, I might not be right, but there's still a huge amount of people streaming, but there just doesn't seem to be the demand of
Yeah.
people viewing. I don't think people are consuming content as like stream content as much now post lockdown.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. Well, I actually would say that there's significantly less people streaming now than what there were, say, six months ago. Like, because the way I'm saying that is, I'm not seeing as many of the big streamers on Twitch. Maybe seeing them once a week now.
Yeah.
which is actually helped a lot of smaller content creators because obviously without the kind of big names and stuff like streaming, look, the good thing is it's managed to filter down to kind of the smaller ones, which are seeing a lot more growth, and they're now got the motivation to start looking at making more YouTube videos because let's face it, YouTube is realistically where the real money is in content creation outside of obviously sponsors and stuff like that. From solely making content, YouTube is realistic where you want to be, isn't it?
Well, yeah, and it's simple. It's as simple as this, right?
Mm,
Again, when you view, if you're looking at content creation, every hour you've got to maximize
mm,
what you get from that hour, whether it be money or growth.
yeah.
And if you do a 5 hour stream, that 5 hour stream is dead after 5 hours. So as soon as you've done the 5 hours, VODs, nobody watches. Like, it's just not a thing on Twitch.
No.
You don't earn any more money from that. So if you do a 5 hour stream and you get 20 subs, you've made yourself about 30, 40 quid, right? So you're
Yeah.
at like maybe 40 quid. You put that 5 hours into creating a YouTube video, and there's no growth on that, by the way, because you only get growth when you're live on Twitch. And again, is it massive? It's not. Um, but if you make a YouTube video in 5 hours, that's there forever.
Mm,
Could forever be bringing you in revenue.
yeah.
Earns you money when you're asleep. Might not be much money, but it still earns you money when you sleep. It
Yeah.
brings in growth. It's there all the time for people to view and bring in growth. Um,
And,
so it's, I
and
would
what I
say it's
love about
definitely
it as well is it doesn't require your viewers to put their hand in their pocket. They don't require that. It's
that's
literally,
it.
yeah.
This is the other thing with Twitch I found is that, and I definitely there was a few very very generous viewers that were a huge part of my revenue,
Mm,
and from a risk perspective. So when I did a bit of a risk analysis of the revenue, I was like, hang on a minute, if these couple disappear, all of a sudden
mm,
I can't make a living from this, and that's not a good place to be from any business,
yeah.
where something's so volatile because those people are being very generous and giving you your money. With YouTube, yeah, it doesn't cost people anything,
Yeah.
so it's difficult,
Yeah.
but it's for me that was a big shift I had at the back end of last year when I was like, right, I need to do more YouTube and TikTok,
Mm.
and other things, um, to actually get some growth because I just wasn't utilizing my time in the best way.
Yeah, I actually kind of want to touch on TikTok a little bit. So, how have you found like the like your growth from TikTok? Have you found a lot of people come to your other platforms via TikTok?
Yeah.
Um, sorry, say that again.
Yeah, oh, no, I just
Yeah,
said, yeah, agreed. Sorry.
no, definitely. And is it helped you massively, or is it like a little bit each day kind of thing, or did you see a massive spike with just one video? But how do you view TikTok at the moment?
How do I view it? Like
Yeah.
TikTok, from a FIFA perspective, I would say it's been really great because it does help. It does help to get, brings new viewers over to your videos.
Mm,
But I would say it depends what content you're putting out there
yeah.
because TikTok's a difficult one because it's not a follower based application. It's a view based one. So, you could get something with 1 million views but only pick up 100 followers
Yeah.
because it hits the algorithm to get it views, but it may not be engaging content that people want to follow you for.
Yeah.
And I think with FIFA, like getting views isn't the most difficult
Mhm.
in terms of like with any pack that's popular, you can get hundreds of thousands of views because people not necessarily there to see me. They
Yeah.
just want to see. They stay because they want to see what's in the pack. And so you don't. So it's a difficult one because you can create some TikToks, which again, it can be take one. It could take 2 minutes to record, and it's
Mm,
just me opening a pack, and it will do really well in terms of views because people watch to the end. And then I can create something that's really creative.
mm.
It gets a much higher like ratio and comments from people, but it doesn't do very well in views because people who don't know who I am don't really watch it. So they're like, oh, what's this old guy doing? So with TikTok, you get two. In my view, you get two kind of TikToks. You get the engagement TikToks, and you
Mm.
get the ones that just draw views, and they're both really useful.
Yeah. No,
But
definitely.
ultimately, TikTok's a good platform. But I think, and I did the same. So this is just from my experience. I put too much time into it, and
Right.
I was like, I was putting so much time, and I was like, wait, how's this earning me money?
Mhm.
It came down to that same thing. I was like, right, so I need to just slow down a little bit and just again focus back onto YouTube.
Evaluate it and stuff like that. And
Evaluating, yeah, because it's so easy, I'd say, with TikTok. And again, this is all from my experience. So I was like, oh my God, I'm getting views. Oh my God, I've hit 100,000 followers. Oh my God, this is amazing. And I was really happy, which is it is an amazing thing when you hit these milestones. And especially because, at the time I had like 20,000 on YouTube and I probably hit 100,000 on TikTok. And I'd only been doing TikTok for like 6 months. So I was just like, but then when you take yourself back a minute and you think, wait a minute, but what does that do for me? Like, people don't go from TikTok to YouTube because, there's got to be a reason to convert. If you open a pack, or if I just do, I don't know, me scoring a goal, that doesn't make people want to go and convert to YouTube. It's just not that easy. So I was like, right, I need to just. I was posting like 4 times a day, and I cut back. Now I post like once
4
every
times
few
a
days.
day.
I was posting loads on TikTok.
Jesus.
Yeah. And it helped me get growth, but then you get to a point where, like, again, wait, I'm getting loads of growth on TikTok, but where do you make, again, you evaluate, where's the potential, where in a year's time, where do I need to be making my revenue from to make this a sustainable business? Right, I'm not focusing, like, how does this, so I would say with anyone, if you're looking at this, or with anything, you have your goal for a year, 2 years, and everything you do, you need to think, does that get me to that goal? If it doesn't, you need to reevaluate,
Yeah, it's like I've kind of evaluated the kind of my own content wise, and at the moment I've not been able to give as much time as I would want to. Just obviously with the job, I am changing job, which I'm going into my last week with Nike now, which I can now say on openly. Obviously, being with Nike now for 5 years, been one of the best companies I've ever worked for. But I fancied getting out of retail, to be honest. I'm going to a Monday to Friday job, learning new trade skill and stuff like that. But one of the best things about it is it gives me flexibility. And with the flexibility, will allow me to do more with content creation. But one of the things I was like, well, I can't focus all my time on Twitch because it's not really helping me that much. TikTok, as much as I like doing TikToks, I'm struggling with that one. Realistically, I'm just focusing nearly all my time now on more or less YouTube. So do my live streams on YouTube, make content on YouTube, and obviously do the podcast, which broadcasts pretty much everywhere. Kind of evaluating my own content that way. And I also do my live streams, like I said, on YouTube. But one of the things I found is even after I go offline from the live streams continue to get views. And the viewership on them is not actually that bad. It's like usually if I've got like a 3 hour stream, I actually get people that kind of stay for about half an hour at the very least. So it's been, well, that's the average retention for viewing the stream afterwards. So like I was just gobsmacked that like it was that long because okay, occasionally I'll watch a live stream back, but typically it's not usually the content I look for when I'm looking for stuff on YouTube. I'm not looking to watch a live stream that was there a couple of days ago. But evidence there. I mean, obviously I'm a big follower of it changed his name now. He was Alpha Gaming. He's now Senpai Gaming. Harris Heller, and he talked about obviously making the switch from Twitch to YouTube, and kind of all the different challenges and stuff like that. With that, obviously YouTube was miles behind in the live streaming element, but they have constantly started to make moves. They just added raids. They've just added gifted subs as well.
Gifted... I think YouTube will take Twitch.
Yeah,
very soon.
I don't know if it's necessarily going to be fairly soon, but I do feel it's definitely in the next year or two. If Twitch don't make some serious moves, like ones that don't smell of money, basically.
Yeah, and I think because the problem we've had when companies have tried doing it before, Mixer, Facebook, the problem they've always had is you can pay streamers to come across, but you can't pay viewers to come across. Well, you could, but so you've got to have a good interface, and it's got to be. Now YouTube have got that because YouTube, most people. I would say, I might be wrong. I would say there's a much higher percentage of people that watch YouTube than they do watch Twitch. Like most people who watch Twitch probably watch YouTube as well.
Yeah.
But most people who watch YouTube probably don't watch Twitch.
Yeah.
Like, so I think because I've often thought about making the move, and I still do. Like, and especially I might soon, just because I don't stream very often.
Yeah.
So I don't see the point of trying to build like if ultimately YouTube's my place, like my main thing
Mm.
I focus on, YouTuber. Then what's the point of streaming on another platform once a week to
Yeah.
build a following that doesn't really? Might as well you do that to try and build my YouTube following more. And they've got lots of things like customizing the amount you know for memberships and things like that. I think
Yeah.
it's really good because you can kind of
You
you
said
can
it's a
set levels
pound.
you want.
Like most people would be willing to give you a pound.
You
Uh,
can set it, and it's just nice that you can do that to whatever
mm.
you want. And I think that's quite important.
Mm.
I've not really. I think YouTube probably have. I don't know. I don't know. I honestly, I tried to look for some live streams the other day, and I could not find. I had no idea where to look.
So there is a tab, but the tab is not entirely engaging. So like if I go live on YouTube, there is a tab for live streams. There isn't a huge amount, so I sometimes
Like, there's
see
not
a
categories and stuff because I was like, right, let's see if
yes,
I can find a list of all people streaming FIFA right now, and I couldn't. And I was like, oh, that put me
mm,
off a little bit, just because, again, it's down to the discoverability.
yeah.
You know, if you, and I guess hopefully they introduce that because
I,
the more
I
that YouTube
I
influences
think
a
they
streaming
definitely will. I
space.
mean, one of the things I also love about YouTube live stream is the fact that you can edit your live stream on YouTube and then edit a clip out and put it onto your shorts straight away. Like it's instant.
Okay.
Yeah, so like and obviously if you make your YouTube short there, that YouTube short could blow up and you can get loads of subscribers from that live stream. And say you do like 4 or 5 clips of it, it's all in the one place. And you can also make YouTube videos from it, but obviously, normally a live stream YouTube video is not always the best, because obviously you can't edit it like you would in Premiere. It's more like you just take that snippet like you would with a clip, but then this gets broadcasted out in the shorts algorithm. So it's very they're doing a lot to try and boost live streaming, and it's kind of refreshing to see someone that is a genuine competitor for Twitch, because obviously like the Mixer wasn't really
No, because they
it
just the viewing, like Facebook's user experience was absolute shit.
hmm,
And like so people are not, from my that people are not that attached to most creators. Do you know what I mean? Like,
hmm.
to go, some people go, but a lot won't if the experience is not great.
Yeah, I mean don't get me wrong, I scroll Facebook and I see a live stream, and if it's immediately interesting straight away, then I might stick around for a little bit, but I definitely won't type in chat. I probably won't like the stream.
Oh, I won't
um
even go on Facebook. That's kind of where I'm at. I just think, like,
hmm,
the one time I've been on and the interface was rubbish. The fact that I had to create a page for, so I didn't have my main Facebook
yeah.
profile. I had to get a page, and then every time I went on and I was going to chat, it would default to my personal page, and I was like, this is absolute crap. You know what?
Hmm.
I just deleted my Facebook entirety because I think it's I don't like the platform at all.
No,
Um,
that's fair. A lot of it's had a lot of criticism over the years, Facebook. And you know what, I did like what they were trying to do. Like I've got people that have made a living from Facebook, even if necessarily it hasn't come from their viewership. It's come from Facebook.
yeah.
I do like the idea that they did try to do. And I should add as well, even though that kind of talking about like kind of some of the negatives of Twitch, I absolutely do love Twitch. Like it was one of the best things over lockdown, and it was so good it's enabled me to kind of make my YouTube and stuff like that. It's given a platform that and an avenue that I didn't really have beforehand. And Twitch, like beforehand, was amazing. It's just some of the decisions they've made maybe question it a bit. But I am still rooting for Twitch to kind of claw it back and make some really good decisions that make it a really beneficial platform to be on from a content creator and a viewer as well. It's going to take a lot. That's the issue. It's going to take a lot for them to be able to um, match what YouTube can potentially do. There's a lot that YouTube could do, and it could overtake Twitch as a live streaming platform in the next couple years. I mean, just from the point of view that there's I can't remember the exact numbers, but there's like several million people on YouTube compared to what's probably on Twitch. Probably about 1 billion people on YouTube compared to what's on Twitch.
Oh, the numbers are gonna be massive, yeah. And again, for me, like I'll be honest, I don't like Twitch has been great to me. I love streaming. And part of the reason I stopped is I was recording a lot of stuff on stream,
Mm.
and I didn't really like that because I streamed for fun. I
Yeah,
love streaming, the interacting, the messing around, doing stupid games, pissing about with stuff. And it got to a point where I was streaming to record, and I was just like, nah, this isn't what I want to stream. Like I hate it. I didn't like it. I really didn't like
yeah.
streaming.
I get
Um,
I get what you're saying because it's like you're streaming, but people are subbing and stuff like that, but you can't have alerts on because you're recording. So it's like it's not the same experience.
no, it's not. And for me, like I'm not stuck to any platform. I don't care if it's Twitch or YouTube, as long as it's a good place for me.
Mm.
And that, in my opinion, from a what they need to give creators is fair fair percentages of the revenue that they bring in. That's I think a massive thing.
Mm.
Um, and that's something that Facebook tried doing, wasn't it? I
Yeah,
think them saying giving because that's key. If somebody's bringing in X amount and it's purely come from subs,
yeah.
people are actually paying money to support. The creators, in my opinion, should get way more of a chunk of that, and that would make it more sustainable for people to do it.
Mm.
And then so doing that and giving the creator lots of ability to be creative with streams,
Yeah.
like with the tools and the add-ons, which Twitch do really well with all of like the add-ons you can do, all of those things. I forget extensions. And then
Mm.
from a viewer's perspective, making it a nice, streamlined, pleasant, enjoyable, simple process, which aids the fun and enjoyment of a stream. I think those are the key things where so I don't care whether it's YouTube or Twitch
Mm.
in terms of just whoever provides those things for me and the viewers makes for the best stream.
Yeah.
Because if it's a good platform, the viewers enjoy it and it's and more likely to talk and chat and interact and come back. And streamers, if so I think the YouTube side would be good because yeah,
Right.
it'd be interesting to see what happens over time with it.
Definitely. So obviously we focused a lot on the particular platforms, but I kind of also want to focus on kind of on you as well, on the actual you becoming a success because you have you've become a great success on Twitch and YouTube in particular. I mean, how many subs are you on now? I think I checked earlier, but I can't remember off the top of my head now.
So I'm on about 88,000 subs at the minute.
88,000
But I
subs
wouldn't
is amazing.
It is, but this is probably one of my problems. But it's also one of the things that I love is that like they say. So I'm well into positive mental attitude, self development. I listen to lots of podcasts and things like that. Not podcasts, but like motivational thoughts and speeches
Mm,
because I love different ways of thinking about things.
yeah.
And I love some of the insight you can get from them are amazing, especially when you think about yourself. And there was one of them which was talking about why why do people why do people not fulfill their potential, or why do people not hit the top level of boom. And it's because when we do something we get a little bit of success.
Yeah.
And so YouTube at the start of the year got a little bit of success, and I was finding that I was checking my numbers all the fucking time. I
Yeah.
was literally spending hours a day refreshing YouTube on my subs. And I was one day I heard this thing which said about it. Said that what people do, they focus on the success they've got instead of going the next level and going forward. So they never get higher because they think they're
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
So I guess I'm very proud of what I've done, and I love that people enjoy the content.
Mm.
Actually, for the first time, was it 2 days ago? Somebody shouted my name in the street and came up and asked for a picture. I wanted to die of embarrassment. But that was a really nice feeling because it was like it made it real. Because I sit in my room for like 16 hours a day,
Yeah.
and sometimes hard to you don't quantify 150 200,000 views of the
that
people that watch your stuff. So I think I'm I'm very proud and I'm of what I've done so far, but I don't call myself a success because I'm now focused on trying to improve my videos, improve my ideas, take it to the next level. Because if I focus too much on, does that make sense?
Yeah, you're only in competition with yourself. You be better than what you were yesterday, kind of thing. Attitude, which I absolutely love because obviously it's helped you get to where you are today as well.
The
Um,
marginal improvement is one of the things I try and do. The
mm,
1% improvement kind of
yeah.
this British cycling team stories, which I tell people um, if they don't know it, and I think that is so key to anything we do.
Do you want to enlighten us a little bit? Because I'm unsure on the actual story you're on about.
Yeah, so basically, the British cycling team were a joke. It was one of the worst. It was I think it was so bad that uh, bike companies, so bike makers, didn't want to sponsor them because it was seen as negative for the brand. Like the British cycling team were that bad. And then I forget the guy's name, but he came in and took over, and his mentality was marginal improvement. So basically, instead of trying to, you just try and improve every single element by 1%.
Hmm.
And when you add all of those 1% improvements up, the marginal gain of it is huge. And so he did that. And the cycling team literally took apart everything. So they looked at the paint they used on the bikes. They looked at they literally every fine detail they tried to improve. They improved the paint and got a little bit more aerodynamic out of it. They looked at things like what massage gels are they using for their athletes afterwards? Is there a better one? So they spent time testing which ones were better. All these different methods,
Hmm.
everything to try and improve 1% in every single area. Like they used. Oh, I mean, the detail they went into was crazy. And then 4 years later, British cycling's by far the leader in the world and has been for a long time. Um, because of this marginal improvement. So the way I try and now look at my stuff is I try and just improve a little bit every time. Or if I look at something like I did this, this is something I did at the start of the year. I was like, right, let's break down my stuff. What can I improve? And I do it now. Like, for example, good example, my backdrop. I hate it. It's not very, it doesn't look very clean. It doesn't look very professional. And I know that just by improving that a little bit, it will just help maybe like a tiny little bit, but that, along with all the other little changes, just add up to a big amount.
Yeah, no,
Um,
I used to absolutely love the backdrop you had before. You had the kind of the goat board, was it?
yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah,
yeah, there was a you had that show. I mean, that office was obviously it was the first time I saw your streams. And you what? It's mad as well because I actually talk about the first time I had a big raid, right? And I say this a lot as well was when I did the charity stream, and it was yourself that came in with 25 viewers, and I'd never seen this amount of people come into a stream before. Like I'd never seen numbers like this. I was streaming maybe to 3 or 4 people at a time, and all of a sudden the 25 people, and I didn't know what to do with myself. That happened, and then believe it or not, about a couple hours later, I was actually raided by FG as well. But this was before that he had kind of made it to where he is now as well, where he came in with about 20 viewers, I think it was. And
yeah,
I had no idea who he was at the time, but I thanked him obviously for the raid as well. Obviously he's made some incredible moves, working with Man City and stuff like that. It's absolutely amazing. But it's meant to think, this was what 2-3 years ago. That I did my first live stream, first charity stream. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, it was a bit of a dodgy experience. I was doing press ups on my bed as a challenge.
that's part of the fun of streaming, though.
Yeah,
That's why I stopped streaming when I record because streaming is just about having a laugh and
yeah,
messing about, not sat there like ignoring everyone because you're recording. So,
yeah.
but that's
FIFA
what it's all
fitness and
about.
stuff like that.
Doing chin
I,
ups
I,
and
I
things,
remember
bicep chin ups.
remember what was it when I first came in? You had that fuck card round you, and you had
Oh, the stats. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
And there was also like the FIFA Fitness and stuff, like so people subscribing, or you would spin the wheel, and depending on it, you'd be doing chin ups and stuff like that. All sorts really. And it was a great experience being in those streams as well because there was so much engagement there.
Yeah.
To,
Yeah,
to
that's what I love about streaming. I will get back to streaming. Like I do enjoy it when it's
yeah,
like that. When it's no like when basically for me, the way I want my stuff is streaming is not. I don't classify streaming as a job.
Yeah.
Like that's for fun. If people want to sub, hey, you sub by all means, go for it. But
Mm.
it doesn't matter. Like that's where I want to be. Where you know what, I make my income from YouTube,
Mm.
and then I stream because I want to stream, and I'll stream whatever game I want. I streamed Fortnite the other day, and I loved it.
Yeah.
And but if I stream FIFA, I really dislike it.
Yeah.
Um,
I
so
actually
that's the
wanted to
place I
ask you.
want to be
You
at.
had that Patreon for a while. I don't know if you
Yeah.
still have it as well. Obviously, that was something you obviously people supported you, but it also had that element of fun where you would play games and stuff like that with your Patreon supporters and stuff like that as
Yeah, we
well.
did games night. Yeah, we did do games night. That was actually really good fun. We had a lot of fun doing like F1 nights.
Mm.
We did some pro clubs nights, which just ended up everyone having a go at each other. Because you know how it goes at pro clubs, right? But
Yeah.
like, mate, just pass the fucking ball. And then 2 seconds later, that person who just moaned doesn't pass the ball and gets moaned. And it just goes like that. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, I've done all sorts. I've tried everything. And it's only by that time, like, I had and the Patreon I set up was obviously, there was two reasons. One, I wanted to try to see if I could create a patron, you know, because there's financial benefits and
Mm.
you could have good fun with it and try and provide extra content for people. But the same with like Discord. I started a Discord server, but I actually need to close it down because if you have everything, if you have Twitch, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Discord, Patreon,
Yeah.
you physically cannot manage all those things. Maybe if you're massive, if you're huge, right? Because you pay somebody to do your YouTube editing,
Mm.
and all these things. So you might be able to, but it's impossible to do everything. And that's I just took a step back because I remember one point I was like, right, I need to be engaged on Twitter every day. I need to try and post on Discord every day and keep chatting to people. And I was killing myself. And I was like, this is not.
I remember thinking that as well at one point because it was like I genuinely just saw you everywhere. Like you were literally everywhere I looked, and obviously
Yeah.
I'm thinking at the same time, good on you. You know, you're really going for it. But at the other time, I'm like, how are you not shattered? Like
You burn out you can burn out very, very easily. I mean, at
hmm,
one point I was streaming twice a day, and this is what I meant by like I went through a divorce and that in lockdown,
hmm,
and this is probably where my streaming is spiked up because, as I said about escapism,
hmm.
you can sit and stream, and especially when you call it a job. So this is aimed at when somebody's doing it as their job full
So,
time.
just to touch on it just ever so slightly,
Yeah.
obviously with you having the divorce, was it a disagreement about kind of streaming that came out, or was it other issues?
Oh, it was a mix of things.
Right.
It was a
Okay.
mixed bag of stuff. Yeah, it was a
Yeah,
mixed
because
bag.
we
The
did
choice of
touch.
my career was not. Let's just say that was it was a factor into why things didn't work out.
Yeah, no, listen, it happens, like things like this. It was just that I wanted to touch on it just because obviously we spoke to kind of Sam where obviously his family was completely against it, entirely, and obviously he just persevered through it and eventually got decent success from it as well. It was just I just wanted to see obviously if that was a factor, but obviously, it is what it is. These things happen.
It
Sometimes
wasn't a
people.
big factor. No, it was there was much bigger things involved. But
Mm,
it's two people just grow into different people.
yeah.
But yeah, so I was going through a divorce. It was
Mm,
lockdown. We were still living in the same house, and I used streaming as an escape because it felt like I was working,
mm,
but I wasn't really working. I was just sat playing games and having a laugh.
yeah.
But again, if you've got a full time job and it was your day off, that's fine because you're there to stream to have fun. But
Yeah.
like for me, I had to try and make a living, and yeah,
Mm.
I used it a bit of escapism.
Yeah,
Um,
burn
it's so
yourself
much.
out if
You
you're
do,
constant.
you do. I do it a bit now with YouTube. Like the other day, I had repetitive strain in both forearms, my wrist, my finger. So my finger was swelling up
Mm.
from editing and spending too much time on the computer. Literally, I was clicking the mouse was really painful.
Jeez, oh, I've never heard of that. Like, you
Yeah,
just
mate, I was. Oh, videos take a long time to make.
yeah. Like I'm about to say is that I think it's like the recording part is actually the shortest element of it. Like the planning, script, the editing by far is the longest part.
Yeah.
And obviously you've got to rewatch the thing multiple times and try and find opportunities and everything. I mean, especially the way editing is, like YouTube is now. Like I kind of looked at a video watching, kind of think it was like Tommy in it, like how he edits his videos and how it's a constant frame change, like every kind of 4 or 5 seconds
Pattern
almost.
interrupts. Yeah, it's all about pattern interrupts. I think FIFA. This is my opinion.
Mm.
I'm from looking at. I'm a numbers guy, so
Mm.
background. I've always been numbers. And
Mm.
so I analyze numbers. I look at numbers. I always look at people's channels. I always like to try to understand what
Mm.
trends are happening. And FIFA YouTube, it used to be like the way that FIFA have changed the game. So there's more packs, like that kind of content, whether it's focused on the game,
Mm.
where if it's just you sat and it's just camera in the corner opening packs or whatever it might be, doing like a even with my series Draft Roulette, it's kind of those kind of things. People don't really consume that content anymore. People
Yeah.
don't seem to be too bothered by packs. Like 2 years ago, they were booming, but
Yeah, I think it was
it
the
seems like
Penfits
FIFA.
that touched on it, was it not? Where he was saying that you would get massive views for building the draft, but no one would watch the gameplay, and then people would skip to where the packs are.
Always been the case with gameplay does the worst, but you but your core viewers, your core like fans, this is actually something really interesting. Another thing I said, I love TikTok because I love the stuff that gives you a different way of viewing something.
Hmm.
And there was a guy, he had a couple million followers on there, and he was like, when you're looking at numbers and things like YouTube, you got to remember that there's people that what was the term he used? Basically, there's fans that will support you no matter what. So
Hmm.
they see a video from you, they'll watch it because of you, and they'll
Yeah.
watch it to the end because they love watching it. And then you'll get the ones, I can't remember what the term was, just like I think he just called it viewers.
Yeah.
People who will just watch it either because they just want to watch for that video for what it is, or they just might watch the first minute. So he was like, don't just because all like the biggest part of the numbers might say that they only like that part. Like with
Hmm.
FIFA gameplay, if you get rid of gameplay, a lot of the core people that watch everything will be a bit annoyed, and they may not watch your videos going forward. So you could annoy your core people, your core kind of
Hmm.
community by doing things. So sometimes, like no videos in FIFA world, anyway, are just going to be keep every viewer for the whole thing.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, it's quite a balancing
That's
act when it
that's
comes
an
to.
I've never heard that kind of point of view before. Like all I've heard is like obviously no gameplay. No one watches gameplay, but I never thought of it from like the core aspect. Like
Yeah, because they're the people who interact.
yeah.
The people who interact, and I always see it. The people on videos, they're like people say first on TikToks and things, and then you'll get somebody who'll give them some abuse for it. And I always respond and say, no, I love it. I
Mm.
love people write first because those people have taken the time to click on a video straight away
Yeah.
and write something in the comments.
Mm.
That's really meaningful, and I
Yeah.
think, yeah. So there is that kind of difference with the thing. If you remove too much, it loses the engagement. And this is something I look at with YouTube. Like if you make a video too fast,
Mm.
and let's just say, for example, a scene, right? Let's say there's a scene and it's meant to be sad
Mm.
because something bad's happened, right?
Yeah.
Conceded a certain goal, got a packed player, whatever. If that's lightning fast with loads of changes, yet you've got sad music in the background, and it's so quick you don't even know what's going on, people don't get to engage with the sadness of it because you haven't
Yeah.
had a chance. So pacing is something really important with it, and yeah, there's so much to learn and all this stuff. It's pretty mad.
Yeah, no, definitely. I remember.
But
Well, I mean, obviously, this isn't my first YouTube channel. I had the other one, which I won't mention too much. But obviously, there was the Andy Cowell play review, which it kind of took off. It was so bizarre because the video itself is shocking. Like it's actually shocking. Like there's spelling mistakes. There's like rubbish editing. The microphone quality is appalling. Because I literally recorded it from the webcam audio. Um, And like, what was it? The first thing I think I say about Andy Carroll when we get to the gameplay bit was the fact that he's a striker, but he doesn't need to score or something like that. It was like, it was awful. Yet it's on 7K views at the moment for a channel that's got 20 subscribers.
Yeah.
And it's so bad. But at the same time, it's like I take great pride in the fact that video's got 7K views. Despite the fact that I know full well it makes me cringe every time I watch it, and the spelling mistakes of cheap and weak at the end. I mean, you should see the Photoshop.
Oh, cringe, mate. There's nothing wrong with, like, when I watched one of my first videos the other day, because somebody commented on it. Somebody commented saying, watching one of his first vids. And I clicked on it, and honestly, part of me just wanted to be swallowed up. It was nearly as awkward as I said about, like, somebody recognizing me the other day. I just didn't know what to say. And, like, literally inside, I was like, oh my God, I'm so embarrassed.
I got recognized from the podcast in the shop, yeah, because it's shown up on TikTok. Like all the people in my work know that I do the podcast because of TikTok. Like they just see because the area reach of TikTok is amazing.
It your local area, doesn't
yeah,
it?
it starts with local area, so it's on everyone's TikTok in my local area. I got my next door neighbor now follows me. My next door neighbor, I just wouldn't think that she would be interested in my content, but she just saw me come up on TikTok and followed. And it was bizarre. But yeah, no, everyone in my work knew it. And then
how old's the lady next door?
I've got to be careful in case I post this on your Instagram. I don't want to. I don't actually know. I don't actually know. Yes.
Okay. We'll stop that there. If you're listening, if your husband's listening, I'm sincerely apologizing. I wasn't suggesting anything like that. But hey, it's hard to meet people in this world now. So you've got to,
It is. I mean, what is it? Tinder's one of those ways, isn't it?
Tinder, I've never been on it, mate.
Well, believe it or not, I
have.
used Tinder a lot when I was in the States because it was the best way to meet anyone because we didn't know anyone, and basically there was 5 of us in the house that we're staying in, and we managed to get a load of people to come round and whatnot. This is a bit of an odd story, right? I in the house, I had the only room that locked in the whole house. So basically, I gave up my room for a shot of a Ford Mustang 5.4 liter engine this thing had. So basically, one of the guys in the house took his friend up to my room, and I got a shot of this Mustang, which was one of the best experiences of my life.
Sorry, a shot of?
Yeah. So basically, I got to drive around this Mustang.
Okay. I thought you were talking about drink for a minute, and I was like, but it's a car. Like, you trying to drink a car?
No. I got to drive around this Mustang with 5.4 liter. The moment you put your foot down, the back end kicks out to the left.
Oh yeah, the power.
Yeah, it's honestly. I mean, you could fill up a tank out there for $20, which is madness. I wish I could do that here, because that equates to about 18 quid or so. So imagine being able to fill up your car with 18 quid. Is a fuel that is mad. But it was one of the best experiences of my life driving that car. I'll never ever forget that. Because it's just one of those. It was one of those things that because obviously Top Gear was still about at the time, and obviously you see all these cars in Top Gear, and it's like one of your that you see them. Oh, all these supercars and whatnot, and you never think you're actually going to be able to drive one of them. And here I am actually driving one that I've seen on Top Gear, and I'm like, this is unbelievable. And I'll never forget that. I mean, the cheapest chips out there as well. Like, it's like 15 grand for a Ford Mustang out there, which is like crazy money. And I mean, the insurance over here is probably about 15 grand. But yeah,
I got to sort my car insurance later. Actually, just reminded me.
Yeah, well, it's
tomorrow, I think.
Yeah, well, obviously I was over there. You use Tinder a lot to meet people and stuff like that, and we met loads of people just through it. Not necessarily just for the relationship sides of things. It was just to meet. We met people, went to parties and stuff like that. It was unreal. It was actually like, a lot of people think Tinder. Oh no, you're only just out there for a good time. I mean, we were, but we're looking to meet loads of people. Like, and we did. It worked really well that way. But obviously in the UK, I don't think necessarily that would work the exact same way. But it's what it is. It just how it was because obviously I was in the States for 3 months, so out there coaching in New York. I mean, I didn't actually know that you stayed in New York. That's
Yeah, I was
something.
there for a year at the start of my kind of banking stuff.
Did you stay in the city center?
No, so I lived in I actually lived on the Hudson River, the other side. So my
Mm,
apartment was on the edge of the Hudson River looking over Manhattan. So actually I had the best view because like my bedroom window
mm.
was the skyline. So I could see everything. I was literally right on the edge of the Hudson River on the by Hoboken.
That,
It
that's
was
that's amazing.
it was incredible. I was actually glad I could, and I'd literally just get an underground train into New York, and it'd take about 15 minutes because it's
Mm.
right by the building. But yeah, that view, just it's just mad. Just the Empire State and everything. Just literally nothing, no buildings between us. Just literally my apartment, and then that's it. It was quite unbelievable.
Yeah, honestly, like okay, yeah, United States has got a lot of its own problems, but I'll never not look at my time in the States as nothing but a positive. It was unbelievable. I think
Yes.
I think I was only there for 3 months, and I came away with so many different stories that it's just crazy. Like things just seemed to happen when I was over there, and it was only because we got given a lake house by the company, because it was weird, but because we were only renting for 3 months, and obviously a lot of people won't let you do that for just 3 months. So
Yeah.
we were stuck with what we could get. I know full well the people in the other house. So there was two houses. The other house came with no furniture or anything. So they literally went on Craigslist and took everything that was free. They ended up with like 4 fridges and stuff like that. It was kind of mad. And like this giraffe lamp. They managed to get a TV, an Xbox, and a PS as well. Which was kind of mad. And one sofa. All of Craigslist for free. So it kind of added that a bit of adventure. Our house was amazing. We had the lake, we had the barbecue, we had fireworks in the cupboard, which we ended up stealing a boat and putting out in and launching in the middle of the lake. Until the police came. It's honestly one of one of the best experiences of my life doing that. And I would recommend anyone that has the opportunity to travel to honestly do it. Like I look back. I was only there for 3 months, and it is one of the best experiences of my life. And I look back at it constantly, as you probably do as well when it comes to like kind of New York as well. It's just
Best year of my life, and yeah, I think your advice is key. And I said this to people a lot. Like, it's a huge expectation on us that we know that we're expected to know what we want to do for the rest of our lives when we're like 18 years old. You know,
mm,
like 19, going to uni and everything. And I never really found myself until I started doing content and creating, and I started finding this creative side, and I was a bit more kind of a bit more confident and just let me be me.
mm,
And you just got to take advantage of any opportunity you can whilst you can,
yeah,
because like now, I've got a son that lives here, so I won't live in London again, and I won't go and live in New York or anything like that because I don't want to be apart from my son. So if I hadn't done that, I'd be gutted now. I didn't travel because I went straight to university,
mm,
and I kind of wish I did. So I would say definitely enjoy the things you can when
mm,
you can and make the
yeah.
most of them, because once you're in a career and things like that, it's not as easy. But
No,
when you've got a
definitely not.
family, you can't go and live where you want. So make the most of it. And you know what? If you're not sure what you want to do,
Mm,
that's fine. I was saying this. Somebody asked me about this. I think they were like, "Oh, what's the point of trying at school? I just want to do YouTube." And I was
mm,
like, "But it may not be right for you to do YouTube right now. You've got a huge amount to learn, and
yeah.
you just want to make sure that you are making the most of every opportunity you're ever given, no matter what it is. Even if you don't like it,
Mm.
make the most of it. And school, like maybe not university, but like whatever you do, whether it's going straight from school to training to do something, if you've got opportunities to learn skills, learn them, because ultimately it may not be what you end up doing, but they will help you
I like to point out the
in
fact that
future.
Tommy Innit is still at college. Like he is still learning
Yeah,
editing
and
and
he
stuff
doesn't
like that.
need to.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he doesn't need to, but he does. And a lot of people do that because it's all about that self-development, and you never know when those things might help you. And or also, here's a good example, like if I didn't if I didn't have my career in banking, I wouldn't have gone full time, so I wouldn't have been able to afford it.
Yeah.
So every time you have an opportunity to learn some new skills or something, take it, because you never know when that might. And that's at school, college, uni, jobs,
Mm-hmm.
NVQs, whatever it is, do it. Even
Yeah.
if it's something you're like, it's not. I don't know if this is for me. If you've got another option you can do straight away, and then yeah, fine. But just always take advantage of
I
those
like to point
because
out that there's always going to be jobs out there that you can always fall back on if things weren't to work out. I could always go back to retail.
yeah,
If this new career path doesn't work out, there's always going to be opportunities to kind of go backwards if you have to, but might as well propel yourself as far forward as you can possibly get. Because there is options behind you. You don't need to think, oh, I'm gonna fall into an abyss. No,
yeah.
there is things there. You don't need to necessarily worry about that. But
No,
no full well that the only way you're going to make things like this a success is if you give it an absolute 100%.
yeah, and
Definitely.
also just be,
Oh, you?
I think, planning things. If you're planning a big career change or something, like for example, would like I said, the same person was like, oh, somebody asked me like, do I just quit my job or do I quit uni to do YouTube, whatever? And I said, no,
Hmm.
definitely not. Finish what you're doing because again, things you have to go through certain things in life to actually enable you to do the things you might want to do at a later time.
Yeah, like
Or you might need
like
something
for
to fall back
example,
on or
did you know
whatever.
that you were making the kind of content you are now when you first started?
No.
Exactly. Like, your only way going to find out is by trying different things. I mean, obviously, I'd wish I'd at college had done more stuff on editing and stuff like that, learning more programs and stuff like that. But at the time, it wasn't actually something I wanted to do. Like, I did 3 different colleges. So I
Yeah.
did product design, I then did programming, and then I did sports coaching. I tried 3 different things. I absolutely love sports coaching. It's extremely difficult to make a career in that, because you're limited by livable income on what you can actually make, and usually you're also limited by when you can actually do coaching because of obviously schools and stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's an extremely difficult area to make a livable income from. So I kind of like I'll do it as a hobby, coaching. Like obviously if I went to the States, I'd have a bit more options there, but it was it was. I don't know if you had this experience when you were in the States. But did you just miss the weirdest things when you're over there from the UK? Like I was missing iron brew and tatty scones.
Iron Brew, I do respect because I love that stuff, but I don't. What are tatty scones? Like
Oh
what?
yeah,
What is that?
it's
Because I'm
it.
not the only one listening to this thinking, what the fuck is he on about?
Yeah, no,
Um,
anyone that's Scottish knows exactly what I'm on about. But they're the best thing on a fry up. Like they just I can't actually explain it other than the fact
I think I
it.
have had them actually when I was in Scotland for a wedding. I'm pretty sure I had some like weird things with my thing, and I think yeah, they're
Like I didn't
like
miss haggis. Like I like
savory.
haggis, but I didn't miss it.
Yeah. What have I
Um,
missed? I missed. I tell you what, I missed the bread because the bread in the US it has more like sweeteners in it to preserve
yeah.
it. So it literally wouldn't go moldy. You'd have it for a month and it wouldn't be moldy, but it just tasted really sweet. The
Hmm.
milk just tastes different. Um,
Yeah,
what else?
it's weird.
I
You
don't
just
know.
miss
Chocolate.
weird things you wouldn't expect. I missed the walk that I used to take every single day. Um, and it was like it's just like, why am I missing this? Like, why is this stuck in my head? Um, I mean, I don't even walk that much now. But I know full well that I could go walk if I wanted to. Yeah, it was just bizarre. I just remember like missing those weird things. I'm just like, why am I doing this? I don't even miss necessarily people because I can always FaceTime or whatever,
Yeah.
people that I need to. But it was just bizarre. I mean, obviously with Iron Brew, I was paying like $6 a bottle, for it over
Oh
there.
yeah, extortionate.
Yeah, to get it. And tatty scones I could have learned to make, to be honest, if I really set my mind to. I mean, in fairness, when I was out there, I lived off steak because steak was dirt cheap. Like I went to Walmart and used to get like it was like 5 steaks for $8, which was stupid. And I used to just have them with chips and mixed veg all the time. That's what I lived off for 3 months, more or less.
Not a bad way of living, is it?
It's not at all. Like yeah, it's just mad. Like kind of Walmart was it was amazing when I was over there. That and Target I used to absolutely love. Oh, actually no, 7-Eleven I loved. 7-Elevens I
I
used.
remember so, yeah.
Yeah, 7-Elevens I used. I mean, I ate far too much 7-Eleven pizza. Because it was like a dollar a slice kind of thing. And I used to absolutely love it. Which is one of the reasons why I gained so much weight when I came back. But hey, it is what it is. But yeah, no, definitely. Obviously, I've got to revert back to kind of the content as well. Obviously, I touched on the fact that becoming success. Obviously, in your own mindset, you're nowhere near where necessarily you want to be, not where your goal is yet. Obviously, from outside looking in, you can obviously as a viewer, as someone that's seen you grow. Obviously, we can be very proud of where you've come. Obviously, helping on that journey as well, because you are where a lot of people aspire to be. You've managed to get through sheer hard work, learning, making mistakes, and evolving. You have made it to a place where so many people want to be, and you've done brilliantly to get to that. It's very admirable to look at. And 8,000 8K subscribers is mad to be on. I mean, you're what 12K away from 100K, which is again crazy to think. And it's amazing to look at. Well, I mean, what would you say if I had to just narrow it down to one thing that made that contributed to your success? What would you say is the kind of the key thing that you absolutely need to make it to where you've got to today?
The blunt, honest answer.
Go for
And
it.
I talk to some people, and I'm always blunt and I'm always honest.
Yeah.
And I don't like to beat around the bush. Like, I'm really grateful, by the way, for everything that I have and like what I've like achieved and the support that people give, and forever grateful for every day. I kind of think, you know what? I'm so grateful I get to do this as a job and everything.
Mm.
But the one thing that I would say that, what was the question? The one thing that
Well, what one thing that you would need to make it to where
need,
you have got? Yeah.
you work really fucking hard, but smartly.
Yeah. Smartly using the
Like,
figures.
anyone could, this is like, I would say it boils down to this: anyone can buy a camera and anyone can record a video and put it on YouTube.
Yeah.
So therefore, to be more successful in YouTube, whatever, you have to make your videos better.
Mm.
Do you not make sense?
No,
Does that make
absolutely.
sense?
Like
You look at the most successful people in FIFA or in any YouTube, the most successful YouTubers from FIFA, KSI, Rota Shaw, right? More recently, Crunch, Danny Aaron's. There's a key factor with all of those guys:
mm.
the time and effort into the edits and the type of videos. It shows because people notice the effort, it engages people more, and it's really scary. Like, when I started doing videos and putting like 12, 14 hours into a video, I was not making much money back from that. And it was kind of like, I was like, I'm working here for about £2 an hour.
Jesus.
But you've got to, like, this is why I said at the beginning about, you've got to treat it like any other career.
Mm.
If you're going to become I say lawyer because it takes a lot of time. Think of how much money you spend. A pilot. Here we go. A pilot. I've been following a guy on TikTok who's a pilot, and he's proper. He's a proper.
I think I might be following the same. Did they say
Yeah,
Simply Lovely a lot?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Simply lovely.
Yeah.
Thank you for the question. Simply lovely.
I
Yeah.
love
What
it.
a guy. And it's really interesting. So it costs about 50 grand to become a pilot over years, right?
Yeah.
But it's an investment. And this is what I think people don't think of when they think of content creation. This is why I say it's the one thing is working hard and smart. You've got to really, like, you don't just sit down, put a camera on, and be like, "Oh, great, I'm growing on." It doesn't work like that. You've got to put the time in, and sometimes the cost. So you know what? I was making £2 an hour on a video, but all right. Other people, if you started straight from school, you started YouTube, or you went to university. When you're at university, you're not making anything. You're paying. So I think sometimes people can be a bit put off by it. And it's scary. I'll tell you what, I shit myself. But before I record a video, I still get nervous. When I start editing, I still get nervous. And but yeah, that's what I say the key thing is just that mindset of thinking, you know, researching, studying, and then putting in the hours
Yeah,
and
no,
being consistent with it.
there,
And
you-
it does pay off.
there you go, people. That's the secret to making it on on YouTube and
I
Twitch
think
is
it's not YouTube. I think that's just, and this is a big change for me.
yeah.
I was very lazy with my content,
Hmm.
very lazy, and I'd never really been like that. My mindset. No, that's why I thought. I said, right, why am I not using the same mindset I've had through my career
Hmm.
now? And that was a huge change for me. Where I started viewing this, I was like, right, this is my career. I'm putting time in. Like in my old job, I had to spend, I had to do so much studying for all my different exams. And even when so I'd been to uni, I'd done some other exams, and I got this like few years before I left it, I got this the trading job. I had to do loads more exams. I was working in the evenings, and you have to put in time. Like
Hmm.
you only get out what you put in. If everything was easy, if it was as easy as just literally turn on camera, blah blah blah, off, everyone would have a million subs on YouTube.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And I always think to myself, if I'm doing something and it feels a bit too easy, then that means that it's not the best thing. It should be hard. It should be at times really challenging, because that is what sets people aside from all the other content on YouTube. You know, because YouTube's is no different than a business. You're selling a product.
Hmm.
Like when somebody goes onto YouTube to watch a video, and this is the same with streams,
Hmm.
with anything, they've only got a finite time. So when they go on, they may see on their homepage, I don't know, 10 videos. You have to make sure you're the video that they want to click.
Yeah. So
That's just like you are competing against everyone else to
how
make.
much time did you spend studying like so thumbnails and titles?
Oh, I'm still studying. I'm
Yeah.
literally. I have got. I know absolutely sweet FA. I still struggle with thumbnails, titles. It is a forever evolving thing. You're
Yeah.
forever learning. You're forever testing
Hmm.
what works, what doesn't work. Why does this work? How do I improve this? And and this is probably one of the things you can get into. Like I struggle with probably working too much. I live on my own, um, and I'm single. I quite happily being single. I quite like it because I think once been married and had kids, you realize that I don't need a relationship to be happy. Like if I have
Yeah.
one, then great, but I don't need it.
Hmm.
Um, and you can quite easily get into a bit of a vacuum of just working all the time, which I often do.
Yeah.
Um, which I struggle with now, I would say is my biggest problem is I don't have set hours.
Yeah.
So instead of being like, right, I'm working, even if it's 12 hours, 7 till 7, and then I'm done. I
Hmm.
don't never stick to that.
I'm gonna guess
So I
is
end
that
up doing.
maybe it's potential that kind of that fear almost though that if I don't put this work in, I'm gonna struggle. Is
No,
it?
it's more of a case, I would say, that if if I finish my work,
Hmm.
what am I going to do? Let's say I
Right.
finish at
Okay.
7 o'clock. What am I going to do? So I live somewhere. I've not lived here long. I don't know anyone around here.
Hmm.
So moved here during lockdown, so didn't go out, and then I've just been focused on my work. So all my friends live in London or where I'm from, which is really far away. So I
Whereabouts are you based now?
I'm based in Somerset.
Oh. Okay. Yeah.
So I don't really know many people.
Hmm.
I know a few, but again, so if I finish my work at 7 o'clock, I'm just like, well, what do I do with myself? Like, do I sit and watch TV?
Hmm.
I could, but I'd rather work on my business and my hobby because it's a hobby as well.
Yeah.
So sometimes you make your work drag out. You procrastinate a bit more in the day, knowing you've got all evening to do it. Therefore, you
Yeah.
don't finish at 7. Or other times you might finish, but then you'd be like, well, there's no point going and
Hmm.
watching Netflix. I might as well sit and do a bit more. So then you never switch off, and then like you don't sleep properly, and I'm into a bit of a bad habit now where I'm getting to bed really late, and then missing my alarm and sleeping in, and it can be a bit of a spiral. And I think you'll see that with a lot of content creators. It become so focused. I actually saw a video. Do you know Mr. Who is the Boss?
Oh, I recognize the name.
He's a massive tech YouTuber. He's got like 11 million subs, gets millions. Brilliant, brilliant videos. And he did a video, and he was saying the same, that he's become so obsessed with the videos, and like me here, I was saying a video probably takes me about 15 hours to make a video.
Mhm.
This guy's video, like his videos are nuts, and obviously it's tech, which has a much wider potential audience than
Yeah.
FIFA. But he literally spends weeks making his videos, right?
Mhm.
And he was saying it's impacted his health, and it was similar. Like he never stops. He's always on his laptop, always thinking about work. Doesn't sleep, doesn't eat properly. I don't drink, and that's like one of the challenges for me that I struggle with at the moment is finding the balance.
Being able to switch off
Being able
from.
to switch off, finding the balance. Um, it is difficult. I
Well,
know that of
what
other
kind of
people as
things
well.
do you do to try and detach yourself? What have you found anything that kind of works at least?
Not really.
It,
Not
it-
really. It's kind of the like I am so blessed to
mm,
be able to do something that I love doing. It
yeah,
is happiness is more important than any amount of money. And this is why like I don't look at how much money I make on YouTube or anything. As long as I make enough to live, anything else I don't care. Like as
mm,
obviously I want to support my son, but when I look at stuff on YouTube, I look at comments and
yeah,
people saying they enjoy it. I look at um retention rates. I
yeah,
look at people clicking on it. Everything is about the experience of people because that's what makes me happy, making other people
yeah.
happy.
I definitely
Um,
get that. Yeah.
and it's difficult to switch off from that.
Mm-hmm.
Like I want to move. I want to move closer to where I know some
Mm-hmm.
people and somewhere I want to settle. I'm in a little town. I don't want to settle here, so I almost feel like I don't put the effort into settling.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like in a bit of limbo land. So that's probably why I do more work. But I've kind of got to change that because you don't get the best of yourself. Like you get into that spiral where you're constantly tired, so you're not as productive. You
Yeah,
procrastinate more, but because you procrastinate more, you work more, like longer hours, because you want to get done what you were going to get done. Therefore, you sleep less, and it's just a cycle. And it gets worse and worse and worse
yeah,
until something gives. So um, I'll be making and my eat yeah. So that's probably I'd say the most difficult part. And I know a lot of creators are exactly the same.
yeah. Oh, I actually want to touch on slightly, just on there, obviously with your videos and stuff like that, and you talked about kind of because a lot of people won't understand this at all because there is a few videos, but not massive amounts. See when it comes to like, see you have a video. So there was one I saw, that you posted fairly recently. I think it was like 130,000 views on
Yeah.
one of the videos. Roughly from one of those videos, if you don't mind saying, if you do, then don't worry about it. But how much would you say you actually make from like that kind of video? Is it like, would you say it's more than what people would expect? Would you say it's less than what
Less
people would?
than what people would expect.
Less, is it?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So like, have you been able to, like, have you had any videos that have shot up so well that you just like, wow, this is incredible? Or is it like kind of like, okay, right, I'm gonna need to keep posting more videos to make it
Probably one of the worst things you can do is post more. This is why I don't look at the money. I couldn't tell you how much my last videos make because I never look at that.
oh, right,
That
okay,
isn't
yeah,
what's important to me.
yeah,
And this is my thought about when it comes to
yeah,
sponsors and everything. The
yeah,
key, and a lot of people focus on how much I'm making or
yeah,
um or how much or how many sponsors. The key thing with everything is like if you make amazing videos or
yeah,
amazing content, the rest will happen naturally. Like the first thing you have to do is just make amazing videos. And the moment you stop focusing on making amazing videos or amazing streams or whatever it might be, that's when it starts falling off.
yeah. Because then
So
it becomes obvious, doesn't it, to some people
yeah,
where
so I don't honestly, I couldn't even tell you how much because I never check how much my videos make. Like I look at overall, obviously, but I don't look at.
individual
There's so many
ones.
factors into it with YouTube. Yeah,
Yeah,
like the ultimately the amount of money you make is how much people are watching your video because the more not views, watch time. The more time people are watching the video, the more opportunity they have to see ads,
yeah.
which obviously earns you more money. So
Have you
in this
experimented
world,
with that at all? Because obviously there's elements with where you can show more ads in certain videos and stuff like that. That like if you put
I
more
just
ads,
keep mine the same.
say it again. Sorry.
I just keep mine the same. Again, I'm not trying.
No, no, it's
I
fine.
don't want to. Yeah, I don't. I'm not trying to.
Mm,
You don't want to ruin your video by
yeah,
having so many ads.
definitely.
Like, because again, it's that end goal. Like, if your goal is to literally make, I don't know, let's say if your goal is to make 50 quid a video, I'm just making up a number here, right?
Yeah,
if you hit that 50 and then you're like, right, I just want to get that to 75, and all you focus on is just how to make more money
Yeah.
rather than focusing on how to make better videos.
Because
Do
typically,
you
if
know what I mean?
yeah, like, it's like what you're saying. If you focus on making the best possible videos, that will follow. Because if the
Yeah,
video if you
sponsors
made
are
is
watching.
amazing, people
Yeah,
will stick around and watch the whole thing.
that's it. And that's
Mm,
the key thing for everything. I have some people that I talk to are doing this and they talk to me about, oh, how come those sponsors? I said, don't worry about it.
mm,
Don't care. You make the content, you grow yourself, everything will fall in line. But until the first thing is you've got to make the content, because
mm.
like that's the thing. And I used to say it with streamers, like I'd never focused on money in streams
Yeah, yeah,
again because it wasn't about that. And you see some people who might focus like asking for subs and things like that,
yeah,
and it's never the right way, because that isn't making content to make money is never going to be the content. It's never going to succeed, in my opinion.
yeah. No, definitely. It's
Making
kind of
content
like
you love that you want to make will ultimately hopefully make you an income that you can live on, as long as you keep focusing on that.
yeah. I like the mindset. Is where it's like if you focus on making the best possible content, the rest will follow. Like that.
Yeah.
I love that kind of. Like, I'm gonna quote that at some point.
Oh,
Uh,
and it's so true.
yeah.
You make the best videos, and you
Mm,
know, people will want to watch them. And it's not about making more. And this is the other thing: when people focus on money, they think making more videos equals
yeah.
making more money, and that is very wrong.
Yeah, it's making the right videos, making the best
I
quality.
think Mr. B said it's better to make one great video than 10 average videos.
It is, isn't it? It's great to hear because you know what? It's almost refreshing in so many ways to hear it directly from someone that's experienced it. Because
And this is
I've
why you've got to make the content you love.
yeah,
Like, if you make content because you think that's what do well, but you don't
mm,
enjoy it, it's not sustainable. You don't care about it. You're not putting everything into it. So, and that reflects,
mm,
or if somebody's just doing certain context, they think it will make them money. Like, I'm sure there are exceptions, but in the main, doing what you love smartly, obviously,
yeah.
if you love, I don't know, sitting and picking your feet, I'm pretty sure people aren't going to want to watch that. But do you know what I mean?
Well,
Like,
though I
obviously,
don't
when
know.
we
You
talk
set
about,
up a Patreon, you never know.
yeah, I mean, hey, look, I'll set up an OnlyFans doing that. I'll happily take. Hey, if you want to see my up, if you pay, you see my feet. Um, so so no,
Put your best foot
that's it.
forward.
Focus is all about making great videos, and
Yeah,
if
definitely.
I do that, I won't, I don't, shouldn't. Hopefully, at some point, won't even have to think about the rest,
Mm.
and that's all I focus on is just making what can be my next idea.
It's amazing as well
I
because I
never
know.
sit about thinking about money.
Yeah, I know full well there's going to be people that watch this and will listen for this question. The question I just asked you about, where
Oh yeah,
like
I
how.
forgot. I might have picked. No, I haven't picked my nose. I'm all right.
Yeah, no, not about picking your feet. Obviously, that wasn't the question that everyone was waiting for. But yeah, obviously the financial thing is one thing that is it's a big motivator for a lot of people. I know that, and I know full well that it's also one of the easiest ways to justify it to others. Because a lot of people, we I touched on this on the Sam podcast as well. And the fact that his family just didn't they thought it was an awful idea, called him an idiot, all sorts. And then the years later, they're all in it. They all support him fully because obviously they can now see that he's getting reaping all these rewards from it, and it's frustrating because you're doing something that almost a lot of people would look down on you for doing because it's like, oh, is that really a career? You're playing FIFA. Are you really doing it? And it's annoying that the only way that they can actually see it from what it is by the amount of stuff that you have, or like it's frustrating in many ways that way. Um, you
Oh, I
know,
get it. Like on, so I'm on Tinder and stuff, and tell people what to do. They're like, "Oh, what? You can make a living from that?"
yeah,
Um, and I'm like, "You can make a living doing anything." Like,
mm,
and this one thing with my son, I want to make sure that he knows that you can do anything you want to do.
mm,
Literally, anyone can do anything they want to do from anywhere. Just gotta figure out. No, there's a quote. There's a really interesting quote. Somebody said the difference between people that are successful and people that are not successful. The only difference is that successful people instead of just thinking about what they need to do to be successful, they do it. Because
Mm.
do you ever get it where I've had it where I've had ideas? I'm like, oh, if I do that and I do that and do that, it will work. But I never do those things because they're hard work.
Yeah, it's
And
you can get
there's
caught up.
an
You can
interesting
get caught up on fixating on the little details all the time. When like put it this way, you're never gonna get discovered if you don't post anything. It's always better posting something rather than nothing at all for like weeks on end.
Yeah,
Um.
it's not even about content creation. Anything, any
Oh yeah.
business, anything. If
That.
if you want to become a teacher, I don't know, I'm just
Mm,
making something up. What you got to do. Or if you want to start a business, let's do something a bit entrepreneurial. You want to start a business, and in your head, you've thought about this idea. You've got this idea of starting a business, selling, whatever, right? You know what you got to do. You know you need to do that, and then you hit a mind block of like, oh, I'm not sure how that bit would work. And
mm,
most people, I think Duncan Bannatyne. I love reading books about people and success because it's just interesting.
mm,
Um, and a lot of people switch off at that mind block, where the people who become successful just get past that and keep going, and then start putting actions in. It's
yeah.
easy to dream the dream, but it's harder to start the actions to make the dream a reality.
Yeah. It's like
And that's what I try and do, but it's difficult. It's not easy.
yeah. It's like the people that look for inspiration always listen to people that just did it. They didn't find somebody to tell them what to do. They just did it.
Yeah. What
And
is it? Like if you're in thick fog and you can't see anything,
mm,
you can't see where you're going to end up, but you can see your next footstep. Take your next footstep. There's
yeah.
another one. I just love that because if you know that, you write down, let's just say somebody's like, you know what, I want to start a YouTube channel and
Mm,
I want to get 100,000 subs.
yeah.
Oh, geez, how am I going to get that? Flipping heck.
Yeah, just to
Like,
just
my
to
mind
also
boggles.
ask you. So see when obviously I imagine you probably had the few kind of mind blocks. Like how do
Oh,
how do you get out of the kind of like rut where you're just struggling to know exactly what to make? Like how do you find inspiration?
I have whiteboards everywhere. I've got 3 whiteboards and I generally just start thinking. So if I start for ideas, I'd say my mind block normally comes like, so I'm trying a new type of video. I've never done something like this before. I don't know how it's going to work. And I was really nervous because I was like, I can't really plan it because it's not something I can kind of properly plan and script because I'm not sure how some of it's going to go. And I was like, you know what? Just got to suck it and see.
Hmm.
Do plan it as much as I can, do it, and then now I'm refining it and kind of trying to create this. And it's going to take a huge amount of time, and I might turn out rubbish, but I don't know. But if you never do it, you never know and you never learn. So I know that once I've done this, there's lessons. I know that I could have done this better, and then every time you do something, it becomes a little bit easier.
That's
You know,
amazing,
it's like
amazing.
riding a bike. The first
Yeah.
time you do it, it's like the most impossible thing in the world. But then you do it without even thinking about it, and this is like I'm terrible, so
I
I'm
think it's the
very
same with
dedicated.
driving a car, isn't it? When I first
Yeah,
started driving a car, I'm just like, how am I meant to operate the clutch and the
exactly. And
gear
then it
stick and
becomes
everything?
second
Like
nature.
it's all a lot to take in, but you never think about it now. Like you just
No,
don't. Like you just do it automatically, and it's amazing there. Um.
you've got to start somewhere,
Yeah.
and this is it. Like you can't be afraid. Like being afraid of failing is natural,
Yeah.
but you will. Well, this again, it's from one of these things I listen to, but they're like, if you don't try, you've already failed.
Yeah.
Like that's failure is not trying because you're never going to get it. If you try and you don't succeed, you've learned a lesson. You try again, and you've got more chance of getting there than if you just quit, if you
Mm.
give up, if you never try it, and you're never going to learn and develop yourself and develop your. Because they say like in the YouTube world that the trend of a creator who gets big is they have their steep rise of success and
Mm.
then it plateaus because they've got to a level where they can't take their videos any higher,
Mm.
and then slight drop off and then plateaus again. But this is why you see like Mr. Beast, an example of somebody who didn't do that. Like he invested everything he made into his videos
Yeah.
to always
His
make them
videos are
better than the last one,
mad.
always better, and not
Yeah.
always like editing. We're talking about the hook, people
Mm.
winning big chunks of money. Like so, he put a huge amount of money, and he still does it. Puts money in, and for about I don't know if this is completely accurate, but it was a couple of years. Everything he made on YouTube went back into YouTube. Like, do
Mm.
you know how much of a risk that is
Yeah.
for somebody? But this is why he's just continued to go. What I think he's on nearly 100 million subs.
Mm.
because every video, everything, and again, this is every focus of his was not about him living a lovely life. He could have spent all that money in the early days buying himself all these lovely things, but he didn't. He
Yeah,
was like, I want to make better videos for people.
definitely. His
Everybody who's really
mindset's
successful
amazing.
is all
I
about the video,
I
making
I
it
I
for
also love like obviously we kind of touched on it slightly before about kind of the structure and stuff like that. I love how sidemen do their videos, like how they do that. They work it like a business almost, where they got strike systems and stuff like that. Like if somebody doesn't show up to a sidemen shoot, that's a strike. If they don't come up with enough video ideas in like so much time, that's a strike. They're proper disciplined in that way, and like how everyone contributes at the very least a little bit.
yeah.
Um,
I didn't know that actually.
yeah, so yeah, because it was Zarka that was talking about it, and then obviously like the Simon Reacts channel that they do, JJ had the least amount, so he's done a few on his own to make up for that, to make sure that
Right,
they're
okay.
continuing to grow because
Yeah.
they operate it like a business, and it
Oh, and
does.
that's what I think you've got to do. Yeah,
Yeah,
there's a reason why. There's a reason why people are successful. It's not luck.
yeah.
It's not oh they got lucky.
Hmm.
It is through
Hmm. Don't get me wrong,
constant
luck comes into it
improvement.
a little bit. Like
Oh, it can do, but if you're
hmm,
not making the content,
hmm.
you know what I mean?
Yeah,
If you're not
I like to point
making
out obviously the fact that obviously like so Bateson came into your stream and offered you obviously the position in Fatal like a while back. That wasn't luck. That was like through hard work that you got recognized. Like if you hadn't put in the effort, Bateson probably wouldn't have offered you that position where you were end up playing against. I think in that first Fatal series, you ended up playing against Nepenthez from.
yeah, I got battered. Ha.
Yeah,
Um,
I remember watching that. It was
you work hard to get those opportunities.
yeah, and
Like obviously a little bit of luck, but luck isn't what makes somebody.
no,
Like you could have. It's like the other thing about. I know this again. This may not be for all YouTube, but if you get one video that just goes mad, that doesn't make you a.
you got to build on that.
You got to build on it. It's not one video. It's not that one
Mm,
video that's all of a sudden gonna make you, and then you don't do any other videos. Do
mm,
you know what I mean? Like
yeah,
it's the consistency of it. So if you do loads of vids and then one pops, that will really help your other videos if they're all
yeah,
of the same standard. But if you just let's say you made one video, put loads of effort, it was a perfect idea, and it went amazing, but all your other videos were just a bit
mm,
poor, then it won't help you grow because
no.
people.
So you end up losing subscribers and your
It's the
engagement won't be as high.
consistency. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's the consistency that, and yeah, you're working hard so that you get those opportunities.
mm,
That the only reason I got invited to that was because people were very kind on Twitter and responded. I didn't ask; people just responded when he asked who did he want to be on it, and I think people responded. It's like some huge helps.
and you're now good friends with Bateson now, aren't you?
Yeah, good mate. I love Bateson. He's such a nice, genuine
Mhm.
twat. No, I love it. I love it.
That's getting put on Twitter.
Nah, yeah. He's a proper nice guy. He'll do
Mm.
anything for anyone. Um, and
It
yeah, and it's
that
just
I've heard that about him multiple times. Like, obviously, I mean, you've been blessed to work with a lot of really good content creators as well. Obviously with Bateson as well. It was great. You know what? It was just amazing to see from the viewer perspective. Obviously, I've watched you, for a long time, and it was just the fact when you went from the kind of 20 viewer mark to kind of building up and up and up, and then seeing you doing videos with Bateson and stuff for that, and against the Pen Fez, it's amazing to watch as a viewer, like seeing that growth.
I was
Um,
so nervous that YouTube video against Nep. That was like I knew that was going to be probably the biggest video on my channel. My PC blew up the day before.
oh, I
Um,
remember that. Yeah.
the CPU, and that's how it led to like the Novatech partnership. Is because I called them. I was like, "Please, this is like a huge opportunity," and they gave me a loan PC. It was in lockdown, so we met at a garage in between because we lived hours away. Like I was hours away from the store,
Hmm.
um, and they gave me a loan PC whilst they fixed mine. So I then a guy from the stream, Craig, helped me try and basically I had to take my PC apart to figure out what was wrong with it, see if I could fix it myself before. Oh, it was a nightmare, and I was so nervous that game. Like I get nervous. I sometimes put too much pressure on myself and get nervous. But I think that's a good thing because it's kind of
Mm-hmm.
shows you care
It
enough.
gives
Oh my
gives
god,
you good self-awareness.
oh shit, my pants before that, and I still get it for things like.
Mm.
Even now, still get it sometimes. When I must admit, like so I said, yes, it was 2 days ago. I was walking through the park and I heard somebody shout Chuffsters,
Yeah.
and I was on the phone to my mum at the time, and I looked round and then next thing these lads came up to me and oh, do you do YouTube and honestly, I went really nervous.
Yeah.
Um,
I
really
didn't
nervous,
really know what to say myself when I got
really
recognized
awkward.
of the podcast. So,
And I've not
um,
felt nervous in a while. And that was, I was proper nervous. I didn't know what
is
to
that the
say.
first time that you've ever been recognized?
First time, and I was awkward as hell. And the guy was like, "Can we have a picture?" And I
Mm.
was like, "Yeah, sure." And he's like, "Is it all right? You sure?" And I was like, "Yeah, of course it is." I said, I just don't know what to say. I've literally,
Mm.
I'm not. Yeah, I have no idea what to say.
Mm.
And then when they said what, they were like, "Oh, we love your content. It's brilliant." And that that literally
Yeah.
made my day because, as I said, when you're sat in your room, you see a number on a screen. But I don't
Mm.
focus. I focus on the vids, and you forget about that's real people.
Yeah, the
And when
person
somebody
behind
says,
it.
"Oh, I love your content," and then they message me on Instagram, the picture. Don't follow me on Instagram, though, do they? I was like,
Mm.
"Gee, come on, where's the fight?" No, I'm joking. But they didn't. But that that's what it's all about. So yeah, still
Def.
get nervous at times for things, and I'll never forget that NEP game. But there's been loads of times I've been nervous. Like, again, the Twitch was massive in terms of like Team Takedown with Tom, Capcom Tom. That was one
Mm.
of my I think that was even before Fatal. And
Mm.
that was again, Tom tweeted out and people had gone back because they're from the streams and said Chuffsters. And so Tom getting me on that series was a massive help because like every part of your journey is helps you develop to where you are now. And I
Mm.
remember the thought of recording a collab. I was like, how do you even do it? Like what? And then so doing that, Tom taught me a lot. And oh my god, I was so nervous.
I mean, I was nervous for our club because that was the first time I'd ever had to do it.
Yeah, he came on Countdown, yeah.
Yeah, and Vertonghen forever haunts me because I misspelt it, and then you were like, I already know who this is.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and it was like then we had that issue where the servers went down, so we had to record it in two parts.
Yeah.
So it was like there was a change in the morning and whatnot. But it was easy enough done because obviously we're in the middle of lockdown at the time, so it didn't make that much of an issue there. But yeah, that was the first time I did a proper collab with somebody. And then that had inspired me to do the Simply quiz, which did really well. The issue was with it; it was just ridiculous amount of work because I had to make 30
Quizzes are
questions.
hard to make, aren't they? Take
They
a lot
are
of time.
like at the start, it was really enjoyable. Like I was making, I've got a database of what is probably about 500 questions that we made from scratch. We didn't copy; we made from scratch.
Jeez, that's a huge amount of work. The
I
amount
got
of work that goes into like
hmm,
streams, videos, anything.
yeah,
Like sometimes I don't think people understand how like I
hmm,
thought about doing a quiz and I tried and I was like flipping heck. This
yeah.
is going to take me hours unless I just use one online. But I always wanted to, so I appreciate how much long that must have taken
Yeah,
you.
the problem was it wasn't sustainable because I'd spent an entire day making up questions for a quiz. Then because I'd have the question on screen, I didn't have to put it into like into a format where people could see it on the stream or on the YouTube video. And then I'd spend the entire day. Then I would record it. Then I would have to edit it to try and get it out as soon as possible. So it was constant work, and it was I tried to find ways to make it easier on myself, but at the end of the day, it wasn't sustainable, and I ended up getting very burnt out from it. But it like see when I was actually recording it, it was only like, I maybe spent the entire day making it, 20 minutes recording. Like that was all it was. It was about 20 minutes recording.
Yeah.
And you know what? I can't lie, it was so enjoyable to record, but the work beforehand killed me beforehand. Like trying to make it before it wasn't great. So eventually that series unfortunately died in the end. I'd love to bring it back, but the amount of work that went into it was just ridiculous. So I did that, and then obviously eventually I started wanting to do the podcast because I love to talk, and you know, the podcasts aren't too difficult to edit. You know, they can be very simple, but then also I can also highlight bits and show it to people. You know, you know, there's a lot of iconic moments that happen in podcasts. I was thinking I watch a lot of the Happy Hour and the Fellas and what's good podcasts. I watch all those ones on YouTube, and they have so many good moments and stuff like that. And I was just like, you know what, I can do something like that. That's something that I enjoy watching and I would enjoy making. So I found that just for scrolling through YouTube to find stuff that I enjoyed, and I've enjoyed making the podcast because it enables me to obviously connect with yourself, connect with all these other creators that realistically it wouldn't often just jump into a Discord call with. So it gives me a great chance to kind of find out more about you, and also gives an opportunity for viewers that maybe they haven't been able to hear necessarily these things from you personally, because obviously when you're in a YouTube video, and it's not really something you would talk about because you're talking about
No.
the other content. So, like for example, a lot of people that maybe will watch this won't have known that you worked in New York. You know, they might not have known where your stream started. You know, it's a really interesting kind of way to portray a content creator to their viewers, and maybe find things out that they wouldn't normally. So it was one of the things that I really enjoyed, enjoying doing at the moment. So obviously I'll continue to do this. And listen, you know what? See if this doesn't take off. I'm still absolutely fine, still making. I still love kind of chatting. I love speaking to different people, finding out about people's experiences and challenges and all sorts, because I just find it so interesting. Like it's just something that I absolutely love. I mean, whether it's just because I'm a nosy bugger, very possibly. But you know, it is what it is. And obviously, you did the podcast for a while as well, and I know you definitely enjoyed making the podcast when it was a thing. Obviously, you even had the Bateson on it at one point, and whatnot. And like I'm gonna ask you as well, where do you see your content going in the end? Do you see yourself sticking to FIFA, or do you maybe see yourself maybe potentially branching out and looking at other things? Like what for you do you think, as of now, do you think where your content will go? Obviously, I know it's a hard one to answer.
So with my content, I think ultimately I want to go into other things as well, because my focus and goal is to just make, as I said before, I just want to make good videos. I want to improve. I've only been editing for a few months, and I just want to improve the whole production. And the thing with gaming, you got your face and your gameplay. You know, I would like to do some other things, because it's a new way of learning, new skills, new tests. There's other things I'd love to do outside of being in a room. Like if you could have a YouTube channel where you're doing things where it's not just games, where you're actually outside, that's good because it's healthier, you know. So you know, I'm just gonna. But I think I've done this lots where I've kind of tried focusing on too many things, and then you spread yourself too thin.
Yeah.
So at the minute, I'm just focused on making the best videos I can and developing that, like entertaining videos around FIFA. And then in the future, there might be some other ones. And yeah, ultimately, I'd like to do other things outside of FIFA, definitely. But got to
Yeah.
crack one thing first, you know?
Yeah, wait and see. I mean, obviously, FIFA is going to be changing, isn't it? It's going to like FIFA.
Doesn't
No,
have the same ring to us, does it? EA, FC, Sports, whatever it's going to be called.
I know. Wait and see how that ends up looking, because obviously, like FIFA did stop, like EA from doing certain things. Whether or not that actually is going to be a big benefit from them not having those constraints, I have no idea. No idea, to be honest.
Yeah, no idea. We'll have to wait and see. The proof is in the pudding, right? It's
Yeah,
like with every year, with every game, and they do it with everything. You know, it's a load of guff to try and make you buy when it's
yeah,
really not much. You know what I mean? They do it with like everything. It's just
yeah,
rebranded and guffed up. Like, oh, I knew this. We'll never know what it'd be like until we've had a year of it, is it any different? Like, they'll
Yeah,
say it's going to be different because obviously they want us to buy the game,
I
but
like
in
like I
reality,
know full well one of the things that FIFA stopped EA from doing was likes of certain promos. So like they couldn't do a Nike promo because FIFA's
Adidas.
partnership with Adidas. Yeah.
Yeah,
So I know full well it stopped them from doing certain promos, which maybe does affect the content slightly on like the Ultimate Team and whatnot. What it means for the likes of like clubs, career mode, Volta, no idea. Absolutely no idea. I know there's a big career mode fan base. I know there's a fairly big pro clubs fan base as well. Volta, I am not sure of. It's not quite the same as FIFA Street
nah,
was
it's,
years
I
ago.
just I do question sometimes. Like, I don't know the usage numbers, but I don't understand why they put that time into Volta.
Yeah, like
Like,
I would have much rather a separate
why?
game for it.
Core competencies. Like,
Hmm.
FIFA people. Does anyone? I'm like, obviously there will be people, but it's such a tiny percentage of people that would have bought FIFA for Volta,
Hmm.
especially after the first year was a bit of a flop. Really,
Yeah, it was like the
I just
journey.
yeah, I just like how many people buy their game because of that. And
Yeah,
ultimately, I think Ultimate Team is what funds the game
it
anyway.
does. It does.
I think it funds a lot of other games at EA. So I don't understand why spend all that money on creating a game mode which kind of isn't the core. I don't know. I
Yeah.
mean, I don't see. I am very Ultimate Team focused.
Yes.
So,
Very much.
but I just don't know anyone that touches Volta. I mean, I've not even loaded it. I think just even when it first came out, I played it
Hmm.
once. I was like, I'm bored.
Like I know obviously loads of people that made careers from Ultimate Team. I know people that have made careers from career mode, and
Yeah,
I know plenty of people that made it from pro clubs. I don't know anyone that's made it from either the Journey or Volta,
yeah.
because I don't think there's that audience for it. But it is what it is with FIFA. We'll have to wait and see how it develops and
Yeah,
where it's going to go in the end. It's going to be definitely interesting. But for the last part of the podcast, obviously the last time that me and you were in one of the last
you're
times
not
we
going
went.
to countdown me, are you?
Oh,
Please.
it's not going to be countdown. We have a little game show that I've just decided to create, and I made it on the way home today.
Okay.
Because I heard it slightly differently, so I've changed it slightly. But basically, I'm gonna maybe give you. So we'll maybe have about 5 minutes to do this. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just give you a word, and I need you to make 5 sentences with that word as quick as you can.
Oh, jeez, words are my weakest point.
So that did countdown would be interesting.
Oh yeah, I know. It's silly. I literally spelling, words, grammar, my weakest point, and
Yeah.
numbers.
So
Not.
so it's 5 legitimate sentences that someone would say, or you think someone would say.
And I've
Uh,
got one word I have to include in all of them.
yeah. So anyone that's watching this on TikTok and whatnot, let us know your sentences, right? So we're gonna start in a couple minutes, about 30 seconds. Basically, I'll give you a word, and then you try
Okay.
and make 5 sentences as quick as you can. I have got 4 words here at the moment, so we'll see how quickly you can come up with these. I might maybe think of another word while I'm here, but yes. So yeah, basically that's more or less going to be the rules. Try and come up with them as quick as you can, and we'll see what we can come up with because I think this is going to be rather interesting. Right, yo. So your first word is constable.
As in police constable.
Yes.
Take that joke. Right. uh. Okay.
So your time starts now.
What? Okay. I'm sorry, constable. I didn't mean to do that.
All right. What did you do?
I don't know. That's a sentence that
Yeah.
somebody might say.
Then another
Um,
one.
I was walking down the street and I couldn't believe I saw a police constable do that. There you go.
What
Another
did he
sentence.
do?
I don't know. You just answer a sentence. You don't answer a whole story. You said a sentence.
Next one. Go on.
If you do that again, I'm gonna call the constable.
Okay.
Constable, I've got a lead on a new case. Come and take a look. There you go. 4 sentences.
There you go. I'll take that. I'm just wondering what all these people did to get the constable after them.
The only way I can use the sentence.
You know, it was a slightly different game, but I heard basically this guy just went through his whole family. It's like the constable arrested my niece. The constable arrested my aunt.
I was going to say, something very similar.
Yeah. Right, your next word is penguins.
I love penguins. You love penguins. We love penguins. Everyone loves penguins. Okay, no, serious answer. I love penguins. There we go. There can be one. When I was at the zoo, I saw some penguins.
Okay, yeah.
Oh my god, that penguin just ate my sandwich.
All right.
In Madagascar, there is a penguin.
Okay, yeah. Okay, yeah, fair enough. Right, your next word is pineapple.
My safe word is pineapple. I love to slice pineapple into slices.
Nice.
If you don't shut up, I'm going to shove this pineapple up you. And the final one would be... Oh, I can't remember. I have to do this. One of my favourite party foods is pineapple and cheese on a stick.
All right, you know what? That's actually all right, isn't it? I do rate that.
I mean, that's a lie. I think it's minging, but
all right.
It was a sentence that came to my head.
Right, and next one is Bristol.
Bristol. I'm from Bristol. There we go. I support Bristol Rovers. There's 2.
Yeah.
A great place to visit in Bristol is the Suspension Bridge.
Right.
And
for 25 seconds.
I don't know. Somebody might say I'm going on a night out in Bristol. There you go.
Yeah, right. Fair enough. Well, listen, there was a little thing I just came up with on the way home, so it was never going to be absolutely perfect. I'm still wondering what those people did to get the attention of the police constable. But, listen, it is what it is. Thank you very much for... I haven't got a name for it. Like I said, I came up with it on the way home, so listen, I'll take it all day long.
We always used to play Would You Rather.
Oh dear, that's a dangerous game to play.
That was always fun. Basically, go online and just find some random ones. It just be some random stuff. It's great.
It's a dangerous game to play. But you know what? On that note, there after that game, I'm gonna end the podcast there. Chuffsters, thank you so much for doing this. It's been good fun and so much insight as well. You've definitely probably helped a few people with this podcast get a bigger insight as to what entails with content creation and what it takes to actually make it a career. So you've definitely helped a lot of people from that. So thank you so much on their behalf as well. For that one. Guys, as well, please do check out Chuffsters. His links will be in the description below. If you're watching this on or listening to this on Spotify or any of the other audio platforms, make sure that you do check out Chuffsters on YouTube as well and at twitch.tv/Chuffsters. Make sure you drop a follow there. It is all free, so it doesn't cost you anything. And also the team as well. If you are new, please do consider following the podcast and subscribing. It all helps out. It's all free, and it do it. Yeah. Well, lose my train of thought right to the end, as I normally do. But again, Joseph, thank you very much, and adios, team. Catch you later.